Oppo have just announced a couple of really impressive features, which combined with what they're already capable of, make their coming flagship phones, including the Find X2, a pretty incredible prospect. This is why. First up, a flexible camera. Oppo has confirmed that they've been working on a smartphone camera system capable of zooming in 10 times without noticeable loss to image quality. And people have said that this is impossible because to create optical zoom, you need physical distance between the lens in your camera. But Oppo's solution might catch you off guard. Instead of making a camera module with a massive outward protrusion, they've gone inwards. They've laid the camera lenses horizontally across the width of the phone, using a prism to bend the light sideways. So this gives them the distance that they need to create the zoom, while still making something that can fit in your pocket. It'll start with an ultra-wide perspective, moving all the way into a deep zoom. And the system already has optical image stabilization built in, but to be fair, with this kind of magnification, you kind of need that. Now, generally speaking, when you use a zoom lens, it can result in a little bit of distortion, as well as a less than ideal aperture, so we will have to wait and see. But the exciting thing is that, unlike a lot of experiments that come out of the doors of Oppo, they have confirmed that this is shipping soon. Also, Oppo recently came out with their own version of Samsung's variable aperture, the ability to open up the aperture at night to let more light in and still capture good shots. Combine that with their newish ultra night mode with 10 times magnification and you're gonna have a lot of tools to play around with. And then on top of that, you've got the fact that the Find X2 should be coming with a time of flight 3D camera. And I've actually had a pretty good chance to play around with one of them. There's actually one built into the Honor View 20, and its implications are curious to say the least. In real time, it can differentiate you from your background and apply effects to you in isolation. It could make you look taller, slimmer, or even change your outfit. Alright, but aside from camera, we've got the fact that Oppo is now working on maybe the best fingerprint scanner ever made. You might remember that aside from quirky software, the Achilles heel of the Oppo Find X was the fact that it had no fingerprint scanner on it at all. But the company has made strides in this department. They recently showed off an in-display scanner on their R17 phone, and have just now, like a few days ago, showed off a technology that takes the same technology but expands it to an area 15 times the size. This would move the current 3 to 5 centimeter squared to potentially 50 centimeter squared, or essentially pretty much all of your phone. Also, it can scan 2 fingers at the same time. Super fast charging. When the Find X launched in June 2018, the company announced that it would be coming with VOOC charging, which, that's great. It's still one of the fastest charging standards out there. But at the same time, they showed off the Lamborghini Edition Find X, and with it announced Super VOOC charging, which splits the battery into 2 separate cells to increase the bandwidth, and is even today world's fastest solution. Fast forward 6 months, and it's pretty clear Oppo are moving forward with this. We've seen it on the R17 Pro, so I've got no doubt that it would be on the next Find device. We might also not even need a slider this time. In a way, the slider on the Oppo Find X was one of its wow factors. It was one of the things that people would look at and be like, okay, that's cool. But at the same time, when you're using the phone, it ends up being an inconvenience more than a benefit. It's one extra step that needs to occur before you can take a photo. It's most likely the reason the company struggled to fit an in-display fingerprint scanner, and it makes the phone thicker. So it's possible that the 2019 version could forego the slider entirely, in place of a punch hole camera. But I'd be curious to know your opinion as to whether that would make the phone better or not, if it did mean a more competitive price and a camera that was ready to go at any time. The design could be taken a step further. In my opinion, the Find X is still the best looking phone from every angle, and so I think the next evolution of this design might well extend that lead. Oppo has started experimenting with bold gradient finishes, and personally I'd quite like to see them introduce subtle elements of that into the sleeker Find X2. Okay, so the question then becomes, would improvements of this caliber be enough to shift you to an Oppo device? Because let's face it, the software experience really isn't for everyone. Let me know in the comments down below.